Greetings from sunny Peoria, Arizona, where the weather is the same fucking thing every day. Lots of sun, followed by lots of darkness. It's very repetitive. Days with rain now are extremely rare. And it's Arizona. What can you ask for? Why do you come here? Don't answer me out loud. Think about it. Why are you on a spiritual path? What do you think you're going to get out of it? Or is it just a comfortable place to come and snooze for an hour? How's your cat, Jay?
I'm bereft of a cat, so I'm still catless in Gaza.
You have to be very careful when entering the world of spirituality. There are so many teachers teaching, and so few of them do a good job. Robert was a very good teacher. No wasted words. He couldn't talk well because of Parkinson's. So he had to listen very hard and translate his mumbling into English. Twice a week, we got to be around him. Third time a week, I'd go out with him to lunch at Follow Your Heart restaurant. I love getting together with him. I remember after hearing his first talk, I heard the first one from him. Afterwards, I went up and told him, "Where have you been?" And his response was, "Oh, I've been around." Now that's a brilliant exchange there between a brilliant student and a brilliant teacher. "Oh, I've been around." You have to know why you're tasting spirituality. What do you get out of it? I think the biggest thing to get out of it is a meditative atmosphere where you sit in silence and maybe listening to chanting, listen to the talk, maybe wonder about a few things, like, why am I here? It takes a long time to really get into meditation, because if you read any books about meditation, they almost all have different point of view. They're expressing the viewpoint of their teacher, if their teacher ever said anything about it. But it's a chance to get to know ourselves in the most primitive and deepest state of consciousness, which is to be silent and fully aware of our own bodies and what's going on around us. You'd be surprised how many people don't know their own bodies because they think too much. They're always thinking. I was an always thinker. I loved getting into meditation, though, because it seemed like an adventure. But after 60 years of meditating, it's hard for me to say how much it means. But to be able to let go of the world and our minds and just sit with a kind of receptivity without thinking. And if there's chanting, to be able to listen to the chanting instead of participating in it. There's a very different feeling between chanting when you're chanting along and when you're just listening. Listening is a gentler experience. Meditation in general is a gentle experience of opening yourself to the energies and feelings in your body instead of just what's going on in your mind. Most of us spend almost our entire lives, waking life, in our minds. All day long we think and think and think and think. All kinds of sentences like, what's his name doing? What should I have to eat for lunch? What should I have to eat for dinner? What should I have to eat for breakfast? What time should I go to bed? Should it be the set time every day or wait until I get really tired and I fall asleep sitting watching television? Settle into your body now. The best way to do that is to imagine yourself falling backwards into yourself. Literally, it feels like leaving the visual field, which is outside, and honing in to our feeling of our bodies from within. Then you start noticing other things that makes up our consciousness. Things which you can't really put words to. Because this kind of meditation is a pre-verbal state. And anything you would say about it would make it hard to actually attain it. But you get to just relax. Fall back into yourself. Feel your lungs. Feel your breath. Feel your shoulders. Feel your neck. Find any place you have tension in your body and dwell there, trying slowly to relax that area. My tension was usually my upper back between the scapulas, sometimes the neck, sometimes the tension went lower in my back. But I finally got rid of I forgot what I was going to say, but I finally got rid of it. I'm really interested in knowing what questions you have, rather than listening to a bullshit talk from a point of view which you may not have or want. The point of my kind of spirituality is to come to rest in yourself. And that's without the mind. It's that silent space between words expanded to be 50 or 60 or 70 minutes long. And some great things happen to your body. You feel, or you can, feel power pouring into your body. You feel very strong with this energy vitalizing you. And when you can feel that, your sitting goes very well and very quickly and very powerfully. Now you've got empty mind. And what you do then is sit there and enjoy it. Don't try to do anything when you're sitting in meditation. Don't try to quiet your mind. The mind will automatically quiet itself as your body relaxes. And after you've practiced meditation a long time, the transition from normal waking mind to nothingness is very quick. And then you're in nothingness. And by nothingness, no thought. The world we live in is mostly verbal. Everything around us has a description or a name. And we live in that cognitive space of a verbalized world. But you must have some reason to come here. What are you looking for? Calmness, peace, wisdom, big experiences, enlightenment experiences, aesthetic experiences. After you started meditation for a couple of years, going into meditation is such a joy, because we leave the tense world of our daily lives and get to a place of total rest. And the longer you have practice, the quicker you reach rest and the more complete it is. Because you have dealt with tension in all parts of your body for years now. Jay, do you think you can get a cat? Would you allow yourself to get one?
My wife and I have thought about it. They're a treasure. We saw something in town, a male cat, 5 years old, gorgeous, really exquisite. There's a lot of reasons.
Yes or no?
Yeah, I'm a cat person, so possibly. I would love to do it. They require more than there are words to describe, and I've already passed my verbiage limit, so yes, it's possible.
If you watch a cat, one thing a cat knows how to do is relax. Even when they're relatively busy, they don't seem hurried or stressed. You can learn a lot by watching a cat. So getting back to meditation. As I'm sitting now, my body has a little bit of tension in it. Part of that is just for trying to sit straight, but that's helped by the back of this couch. And I'm aware of everything around me. But all deeper than that, I'm aware of my own awareness. Awareness is generally defined as becoming aware of something or somebody. But this kind of awareness that I'm feeling right now is the basic state of being aware without trying to be aware of anything. So things come into my mind or not. Feeling of uncomfort might come into my mind, and I'll change my position somewhat. But what I feel most is quietness, the lack of words, the lack of concepts. And over the years, an increasing feeling of happiness and sometimes of meditative bliss. But with years after years of meditation, the experiences you have will change until you're totally at rest with yourself. And then it's like second nature. You get to visit yourself at the deepest level of consciousness. And you see you're an organism, mostly involved with other organisms, human and non-human. And let me tell you, it makes you feel so much gentler towards all other organisms, especially people, animals, and yourself. You get quieter and quieter, and you want to do less and less because you've realized the true value of silence and non-doing. In non-doing, you get to meet yourself at a very deep level. You can watch your mind begin to think and stop thinking. You can watch part of your bodies that are feeling tension or stress because of the way you're sitting, or it's just came to you that way before you started meditation. You weren't feeling the stress. And as you meditate, you may try to relax your body more. But the real change to rest is when it happens all by itself and your body suddenly relaxes and you're sitting effortlessly without a thought in your mind. And you just feel happy. Not all the time. Sometimes you just feel silent, and it's enough. But what is important is to just relax your body, relax your mind. Relax your desire to want to understand, or to do, or to eat, or to sleep. And sometimes you can go through periods where it's hard to meditate because you keep falling asleep. That falling asleep really is taking you deeper into yourself. So deep that the world doesn't appear anymore. And you could stay there for a long time. That's waking sleep, as they call it. But there's not a lot you can make of meditation, even though teachers write long books about meditation. But mostly they just talk about themselves, really, in one form or another. Or they talk about their state. Satsang with Robert was very long and very quiet. He talked very slowly, and sometimes it was hard to understand. But the words he used were simple, and you can usually guess at what he said if you miss a word or two. Be true to yourself. Don't lie to anyone, including yourself. Just try to be aware at all times of what you want and where you think you're going. Be aware of the thoughts. Be very aware, increasingly aware of your body. When you sit, your body becomes empty. You can still feel it, but there's no busyness anywhere. You've fallen into a tranquil lake where there's nothing to do and nowhere to go, which is so very different from the everyday life of most people who are always thinking about what's next. What do I do after meditation? Should I get something to eat? Should I do something else? But in meditation, you want to get away from direction and from doing. and turn directly into being. Because in that beingness, which you can feel it, it's the most strong thing in you, is temporary. It lasts as long as your body lasts. In the meantime, you get to experience a lot of quietness, which serves you in good stead in almost any capacity that you work or do anything. But it's hard to get away from thinking. It takes quite a bit of time to get away from thinking. But after a while, you won't believe the words of anybody else, because you've discovered your own truth, your own beingness. If anything, you may begin to read some books by spiritual masters, not to learn them from them, but to check your understanding against them. You should try to find out what you felt inside when you first started getting into spirituality. What was your motivation? Are you able to determine that? What are you looking for? Are you looking for peace and happiness, or understanding? And if it's understanding, what is it that you want to understand? What's the point? The point is, in sitting, that there's no point at all. Get rid of points. You don't sit to understand anything. You sit because it's enjoyable and it's peaceful. And if you do it long enough, that peacefulness will pervade your entire life. Then you'll get to enjoy your cats and dogs a lot better, because I don't think they think too much either. I don't know. Turn your attention around. Close your eyes. And after a while, you can learn to open your eyes about a quarter or a half. And Zen students learn to meditate that way. The idea is that it's harder to fall asleep if there's some visual stimulation coming in. Otherwise, if there's just darkness, it's easier to transition into sleep rather than continuing an empty mind state. An empty mind really is very welcoming to the average person whose mind is busy every hour that they're awake, trying to think of things to do, or things they must do, or things they have to do. And after a while, years, all that impulsiveness that we had when we were a kid more or less goes away. And we live more quietly with far less activity. Maybe no mentation at all, except if you're required to use it on the job. You can become dumb as a rock And that's a good thing. Practicing meditation isn't going to make you a yogi. It's going to make you better able to know yourself in stillness, in rest, but also in activity. There's so many variable states that you will encounter over the years in meditations, ones that will blow you away with the power of that state, and other times not so much. You just meditate because it's relaxing, or you enjoy sitting in the silence, not doing anything. And 5 years ago, you would never allow yourself to do that, waste time like that. You would consider that a waste of time when you could be thinking and planning and plotting. Also, you get used to being nothing. You sit by yourself in your own body. Your attention is spread throughout your whole body. Plus the sounds around you enter you and leave, depending on how steady your meditation is. If you're in a steady, strong meditation, you lose awareness of the external world and also of the body, your body. And you may go unconscious for 20 minutes or so. Where's that noise coming from, the talking?
That's why you need a host.
Something happened, and I did something, and more or less picture disappeared. Can you hear me out there?
Yes.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how I did it, but I've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people on the screen. And I hear a crowd in the background.
Eddie.
But we can't mute him.
Sounds like they're having a party.
Eddie seems to be having a party.
What?
Eddie?
Yes, Vijay, what'd you say?
I said the sound seems to be coming from Eddie.
Oh. Feel yourself. Feel yourself. I can't see I can't see Eddie or many other people, so there's nothing I can do to stop it.
Up on our system, I think I'll run your ID one more time. If it's not full, sir, you can go that way. Yeah, if it's not pulling up, that means
In meditation, you could say, to a certain degree, you die to the world, which gives way to living in the silence of your own self, and how wonderful it feels when you become used to being a good meditator, when you can sit strong. Actually, there's nothing like it till you begin to experience the depths of meditation, where your body's very strong and you sit very strongly and you go blank almost immediately. And you're in nothingness. You leave the mind entirely behind. Sometimes you're aware of the external world, and sometimes you're not. Does anybody have any questions? I find them that distracting, and it's hard to flow with the distraction. But if somebody has a question, I can try answering that. And I can't see any boxes for people, so you'll just have to speak up. Don't all rush and ask a question at once. BJ, do you have a question?
So, how does awareness feels?
What?
How do you feel? How does awareness feels like? It feel like when compared to consciousness, compared to
Well,
the presence or alertness.
I guess what you become aware of is just your existence, your beingness, your awareness. And you become aware of your awareness. And in a sense, that opens a whole new world to you, because normally when people sit in meditation, they just try to get to silence, and they miss the power of being in absolute silence and of having a non-moving body, a non-moving mind, and just resting in yourself. Because you can become very powerful that way. You can feel the power of your own self that way. And also you can have almost complete mastery over your thinking and everything else that goes on inside of you, because you're undisturbed and you're aware of new areas of yourself all the time. You're aware of how your back muscles are reacting, any tension you have anywhere in your body, any pain you have in your body. And the pain doesn't bother you anymore. It's just there as an experience. But to characterize this, I guess it's called the best way to call it is a sense of presence, of being alive, of being an entity. Not necessarily in the world that comes later, but it's awareness.
How does it get more power, in a sense that right now the switch is flipped towards the mind, and now to flip the switch back, is there a simple way that you can just
I'm sorry. Okay.
Repetition. Repetition. I've never discovered any way to get instantly into deep meditation, because in deep meditation, actually, usually there's nothing there at all. You're not aware of anything. You're just aware of yourself, and even that goes away. There's no secret to it. It's practice, practice, practice. And in your everyday life, not being engaged so much in your mind, trying to figure what things are like or what to do next in the world. You even ignore the broken down speeches in the background. Now I can see 4 people. That's all. All the rest have disappeared. Let's see if I can get awareness of more people. No, that's it. Jay, how do you feel in satsang? What do you feel?
My consternation is trying to figure out how you can reproach Eddie for having his microphone open and not being aware of it. It's really disturbing. I don't know if you can see his screen. It militates against everything that's requited in the gentleness of this satsang. And it's troublesome. So, listening to VJ, listening to you, and loving you, and trying to understand, I don't know, it's absurd and it's annoying. So I don't know. I don't know if I speak for everyone here, but if we could figure out a way to turn him off, that would be good.
We need a host.
Just relax. This too will pass. You can sit and listen to the chatter and not be disturbed by it. Just sit and do nothing. And let the fires go a rage around us, but we are undisturbed in the middle.
You're why I come here, for what you just said. For allowing me to be in the mundane world with all the bullshit and to just put it down. You just allowed me to go dumb as a rock without whatever the cacophony of bullshit going on in the background. I love you. Thank you.
Anybody else love me here? I want to hear about it.
I adore your love for cats.
Tell me about yours.
I adore mine. His name is Tim. He's super quiet. He's a very, very, very quiet cat. And he's teaching me a lot. I love him.
You know, just being with a cat, being there with them, it catches the ability to relax and be calm is kind of constantly demonstrated right in front of your eyes by what your cat can do. And it's very restful. Are there any other questions? Bernadette, do you have a question? You have come alive.
I don't have a question. I'm happy to be here.
Chris, do you have a question?
No.
Mark, do you have a question?
I don't have a question, but I'd like to repeat something I've talked about before, which is I go deep a lot and I feel the beingness, I feel the calm and the spaciousness and the emptiness much of the time, if not all the time. I'm always at the precipice of beingness. I can just close my eyes and I'm there, like you said, like right away. I'm already part of the way there. However, there are times when I go so deep, and you've talked about the energies. There's times when I go so deep and I seem to be going to levels where like nature is showing me some kind of unfathomable mystery. And it's like, it's so obvious, it's so powerful, and at the same time, it's impossible to explain or describe. And you once asked me if I ever felt like I was grabbing hold of consciousness with my hands, my energy hands or whatever. It's kind of like that. It's like I feel like my energy recurses upon itself. It's like cycling upon itself frequently. And there's times when it gets so vivid and so visual and so powerful that I seem to be at the very heart of the universe, showing me something that's indescribable and beautiful. And but where I'm going with this is like I get constant feedback from my own state that I'm on the right path, or so it seems. I get constant validation. Yes, Mark, yes, this is the way. You're going the right way. This is working. You know, I'm getting these kind of feelings of validation as I go deeper. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Does anybody know how to kill the voice from Eddie?
Getting warmer outside. Thank God.
We need a host.
I'm tired.
I think the host can mute. Can't the host mute everybody?
There is no host. That's the problem, and we don't have the
That's
password.
the problem, yeah. Otherwise, I don't know. Why do a lot of people sit in the dark? I've never been in a group where people are sitting in the dark.
Is that a real question?
That's my superficial one. That's the first one. Yes, it is a question. And then I got another.
You got a deeper one besides the superficial one you just asked?
Yes.
Shoot.
In my life there've been a lot of talk of the shadow. It's, you know, the dark side of that we keep suppressed, or and I haven't heard anything about that in this particular Sangha. So I'm wondering your view on that.
It's bullshit.
Right. Okay. I've been avoiding it for years and years and years and years whilst people tell me about it, and I just it upsets me quite a lot. So.
I don't like any idea that constructs things that you can't really know about. There's so many terms that we use which are really useless because they don't have anything observable. And if they are observable, it's only to you and not to anybody else. Drop any of those concepts. You don't need any concepts. Just relax. Just go within, feel your body. Feel the relaxation, feel your lungs. And feel how rested your body feels after you learn how to meditate. And your whole body just drops the tension. And you feel like you could sit this way for 100 years straight because it's such a wonderful state. But you don't get anything out of it. I mean, you can't take a lot of that with you into everyday life, because everyday life has its own power that's been with you of immediacy since the beginning of your life. And now you start meditating and you find the wonder of relaxing and becoming nothing. And you say, why are we doing this? What do we get out of it? Well, what you get out of it is kind of happiness that you find when your mind is empty and it spreads. So after a while, it's emptiness throughout your life. It takes a long while, but it's happiness continuously is one way of putting it. Even happiness is a bad term to use, because the happiness of not doing anything, of nothingness, is not like any of the happinesses you attain from doing something where you accomplish something or find something. It's just the ease of being, you could put it as what's his name said, that one philosopher.
Frankel?
What? No. Keep guessing.
From?
No.
Okay, I don't know that.
Well, I think I came to you because of the simplicity, really. I can't take any more complication, and I'm throwing away and tearing up all the notes I've got in the house because they're useless, however wonderful they are.
All the what you have in the house?
All the notes I've been writing for the last 50, years and years and years about spiritual teachings. I'm just tearing them all up because I can't stand it anymore. And I just like being here and going to my body.
That is a great discovery.
Yeah.
That's a momentous discovery of the value and the happiness that comes with doing nothing and not have the burden of a task. Jay, you raised your hand?
Thank you.
Actually, I did a thumbs up emoji. I probably raised my hand because either one is effective. But I thought what Claudine said was a revelation. It really literally is. It's perfect. You can't go dumb as a rock and just keep harvesting from all these, every text and tome and so on. Just, I don't know. I love my life at this point because it has become more gentle and simpler in an exquisite way. And maybe, as I've said to you, I'm not sure that what my experience is, but the takeaway is that I can live in the mundane world and just kind of, put on the hip boots and walk through the bullshit and really let it all be.
Yes, and you can, I think I'm going to write a book, and it's going to be called Useless as Shit. And then talk about the wonder of nothingness and not having a goal and being utterly uncaring about where you are or what you're going to do. You drop that, and that's tension drops out of your life. Now, the only picture I can see is Eddie. How did you do that, Eddie? You captured the screen. What did you do?
I came back.
That's wonderful, Eddie. We had such a good time trying to figure out what you were up to. It was a joy. I mean, really, it was like, I don't know. I'm speechless.
I don't think so.
Rarely, but I'm trying.
How was your life with your wife
Me?
Yeah.
It's good. It's good. God willing, we booked a cruise to Japan for our 50th wedding anniversary, which is in 2025. And
where does the cruise leave from?
It leaves from Tokyo. It's 12 nights and 8 ports.
Wow.
We had a trip booked in 2020 when COVID hit. We had 2 excursions to Mount Fuji booked, and of course, when the Olympics were canceled, our trip was canceled. But no, thank you for the question. I think, as I've said, my wife her spiritual attainment is much deeper than mine. She and my son are both musical theater trained actors, and they're doing a Sondheim show at Carnegie Hall opening Friday night. And it's Sondheim's The Frogs, which is rarely produced, but it's a delightful show. And Nathan Lane is the headliner, and it's got a whole Broadway cast. So our lives are unraveling or raveling in different ways, but our affinity and our love is just extraordinarily deep. And
how long you've been married or together?
Well, we lived together we were married in 75. We lived together 2 years before that, so it's about 50 years, really. And
good start.
Well, she was in broadcasting. I talk about smoke and mirrors. She actually was the architect of all of that. She's won every award in broadcasting twice, and I had to report to her. So it's been a journey, but as you said, it's a good beginning. Thank you. I love you. I really do.
I love you too.
You're gentle. You are my beloved.
Thank you, sweetie. Any other questions?
I have one.
Yes.
Sometimes, you talk about, years of practice.
Yes.
And sometimes I feel stressed because I'm afraid I won't get there, that, I'll die before. I can die any day, just like everybody else. But so I tend to stress myself out that I need to hurry to relax, to get there before I die.
Hurry to get to nothingness.
Yeah.
Because in nothingness, you'll have found something that you haven't experienced before. And that sounds wonderful. But the thing is, the wonderfulness of the silence spreads to your everyday life. And there are ways of reaching it by just repetition of getting into nothingness. Watch yourself leaving the body and leaving your mind and becoming one with yourself as a beingness, and feel that beingness. The beingness. I don't know whether everybody can feel it or not, but to me, it's my primary experience. It's a feeling of being alive. And it's not so much my body, but the entirety of my visual sphere is alive. And you just practice doing nothing, and you get to experience what it's like doing nothing when you're no longer the center of the world, but the world becomes you, you become the world. And it's an amazing experience when you do it right. And it takes a while to be able to do it right. Now, some people I know might fall into it right away. I wasn't one of them, because I was always a doer. And getting to not doing and just sitting doing nothing or going nowhere, having no intent, having no thing to do is wonderful. It's freedom. To have nothing to do, nowhere to go, nothing to say. It is a wonderful experience. Isn't that true, Chris?
What was the question?
It doesn't matter.
I just heard my name and like a dog. I heard my name, but I have no idea what's
that?
going on.
What were you doing? What were you doing before you heard your name?
Just hovering in.
Can you describe it?
Yeah, it felt like I was just hovering in awareness. I mean, I could hear you. I have no idea what you're saying, and it just feels like I was just. I just literally felt like just my awareness is just floating around, and then like different things would come and go, but I wasn't really latching on to anything. It was so calm and peaceful, and so I didn't really hear what you said except when my name snapped me back to I guess a more mind state. But I like the feeling of just floating in that, like I said, my awareness just floats around in a big space, and things come and go, but they just don't attach. I love it. It's so peaceful and relaxing.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful to watch everything going on around you, hear everything that's going around you, but to be away from it, not attached to it in any way.
I know these things happened. I remember, but I don't remember anything, really. I just know that it was just float. Like I said, the best description is kind of floating. My awareness was just floating around. Drifting. Calm. Beautiful.
Just fall back into your body. If possible, and if you know how to do it, let the center of your gravity of your consciousness drop from your head into your chest and stomach. And then you're there. The whole world is one. And you're not really there to enjoy it, just awareness is there. And it doesn't have you or you don't have it. It's just awareness itself. And awareness itself is aware of everything around you, but there's no names to give to it because the mind is gone. And you're just left in a vast universe, totally alone. You don't even know who you are anymore. You've become oneness with everything. And in that space, there's great rest, fantastic rest, peace. And now you can begin to explore your body if you want, every inch at a time separately. Just focus on your big toe, your right big toe, and see what the effect that has on your body. Then go expand it to your whole foot, your right foot, and feel how it may or may not create tingling in that foot. And you can learn to play with consciousness that way. see the effects on your body, the effects on people around you, on what you say or not say. And then you enter the simplicity of not having anything on your mind anymore, including who you are or where you are. Then even all the noise that Eddie was making doesn't bother you anymore. The telephone is just telling me, call from the unknown. It does that all the time. If it doesn't know who it is, it says the call is from unknown. How's that for a spiritual teaching? The telephone company had my best interests in mind. Does anybody else have anything to say? Any questions?
As I understand it, you have maybe one of the only 5 extant copies of Robert Adams' original book, Silence of the Heart.
I don't know what it is, either volume 1 or volume 2, but that book has changed so many times over the years.
Because the Infinity Institute got its hands on it and corrupted the entire thing. It's now some Christian, whatever, contemplative, god-awful, confluent debris.
Yes.
But I know it's probably not at a point where it could happen, but like if there were to create a PDF file of that original text, would be that's. I mean, first of all, his transcripted satsangs is something I always go to because I still have 1,000 pages to read, and that's the clarity of what he.
Where are you finding? What is your source?
The 2,800 pages of the transcripted, all of his satsangs. There was a site. It was robert.adams-info, but the person who there was a person who spent 7 years transcribing all of the satsangs, and he has a blue book out, and he took down the site, which was the availability of the transcripted material, but I found it again anyway.
Well, the family is always chasing people that produce Robert Adams stuff,
right? But
and threatening to sue them.
They can't. Supposedly, for some reason, they can't touch this, or haven't been able to yet, maybe. And that's a great source of bliss, because my whole reason for doing anything in spirituality was when I found out about Advaita and non-dual. I just simply, how Robert Adams described his Satori at 14 just still is.
So what is the address for this? Robert.adams.com?
Well, one of them, here's the thing. It was Robert.adams-info was the one that I believe always took me to the site with everything of his, all of his correspondence as he was leaving Sedona, his online satsangs and the transcripts. But there was another one, Robert-adams.info, and that, I don't know, just was corrupted by one of the sites, GoDaddy or something, who was trying to sell it. And suffice it to say, my joy was finding the transcripted satsangs again, because to me that's a reservoir of absolute bliss. Absolute. I can only read a couple of pages at a time, as you believe your intro to many of his writings said. You can't read this like a book. You have to slow it down. You take a page or something and then meditate on it. It's like Nisargadatta's what was it? The Nisargadatta, the book that I'm trying to think of. All of each passage, you were supposed to do 2 a day, read the passage and then meditate on it. It's the Pradayata who did all of Nisargadatta's things about I am. Anyway, I've sort of lost my way on this, but
that's all right. I found out something good, interesting.
Well, share it with me, because I'm oblivious. I just walked myself around the block a couple of times, and but that's how you leave me. You just I just the takeaway is exquisite, Edgy. It's just simply bliss, and as you've said, nowhere to go, nothing to do. I don't have to do anything else.
It's total relaxation.
Total.
You're fired. No more work.
Been there.
You're thrown out, and you'll never get another job. Nobody else will hire you. So you can become a bum now.
Well,
or more of a bum.
I don't know. I don't know about reincarnation. I'm not sure I want to go this way again. But I don't know. I hope I have time to think about it.
Anybody else? Right now, I feel such a deep sense of peace and well-being. And it's so very, very, very strong. It feels like the world could come to the end, and I wouldn't miss him. Wouldn't make any difference. Because it's not the world that's important anymore. It's my beingness. So we're taught all of our lives to attend to the world and how to live in the world peacefully or worthfully or whatever. Our whole lives are dedicated to how to live and what to do while we're living. But to throw that book away of busyness and into just nothingness, you get to know nothingness, and even toss that word away because it's distracting from real nothingness.
I would just say to anyone here, your book, Self-Realization and Other Awakenings, was one of the greatest gifts I ever found.
Really?
You did what I've always said, and I've only said before, is that you went the full invited trip. You went 180 degrees out, and then you brought it back to the marketplace. And with the erudition and the gift from God manifest in any other way you want to put it, was just extraordinary, because there's only ever now, and in that moment we're lived, we're played, we're projected, we're pure potentiality. It's exquisite, but I mean, I know, I understand the words, but that the bliss hasn't been vouchsafed to me on a level which you have attained. And of course there's no attainment, but there's something so exquisite about, I don't know, God manifest, love manifest, your manifest, being manifest, and just everything from the Sangha. The takeaway is I'm humbled and crushed every single moment, and it is beyond. I don't have to try to understand it, because I can't. I just simply have to be.
Good. Exactly. So
fall back into it and just let it take me.
You realize that all ideas are just ideas, and they're not truth. There's no truth in words. There's no truth in language.
No.
They're just concepts.
No, I agree.
And if you don't have any concepts, you just learn to exist in the world as peacefully as possible. And also, you feel a great sense of power resting in your own self. And you really begin to understand some of those Zen stories, like a monk in a temple that is under attack and the invader comes in and confronts him and says, "Why don't you snap to attention? Don't you know who I am? I could kill you in a moment, just run you through." And the monk responds, and I'm such a one that could be run through without any bother whatsoever. So he's, go at it, he says. And what a difference that is when all the meaning in the world has dropped away from you and you have nothingness. You have nothing. You have nothing, but nothing is so utterly powerful.
That's the cosmic irony of absolute adequacy.
Yeah.
It just
exactly
simply,
so.
It is.
Exactly so. Well put.
It's exactly the gift. No self, no others, pure awareness, no self-awareness, God manifest in the moment. Just, wow.
Listening to Robert's talks was really frustrating in real time because he tended to be on the simplest terms possible and not have any complexities in there. So to me, it was like listening to a child going ba 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 ba. But what I felt was an incredible peace by just listening to his voice and not to what his voice was saying, just drowning into the peace that he radiated. He was quite a strange person. The unknown is calling again, according to the phone. Well, if there are no more questions, let's end it for today. And we can think of it, what we can say next time that you forgot to say today because you were blocked. But next time you can have all kinds of questions to ask. Okay? Bye-bye.